What's up, guys? It's your boy McKinley Crain here, and today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free movie review of the 1989 comedy drama film Dead Poets Society. So I just recently watched this film, and I loved it. It was perfect. It was just a very enjoyable, very powerful movie, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I expected it to be great, but not perfect. But it exceeded my expectations, and it's perfect. It's a perfect movie with perfect performances and perfect everything. Anyway, this movie is about a like a new English teacher, specifically a poetry teacher, showing up at getting a job at a like a boys charter school, like boarding school for it's a boarding school for just academically intelligent males who are minors. So um like and it's from like an age range of the people there, the students there, from an age range of I would say 10 to 17. The students are, and so yeah, this new English, specifically poetry teacher, shows up, and his name is John Keating, and he's played by Robin Williams. And he's very well acted in this movie. He's perfectly acted in this movie. He's a perfect character. He's a great character. And Robin Williams gives a perfect performance. Playing him, he gives a very dedicated, delicate, believable, convincing, just powerful, inspiring performance playing this character. And he's the best. He gives the best performance in this whole movie. Although the whole cast is great. Robin Williams is just gives the best performance, in my opinion. Anyway, and the character of John Keating is just very, very clever and very just free thinking in a way. He's like a free thinker, and just he has a very kind of just rebellious in a kind of way, in a certain kind of way, like personality, like a certain type of way personality. He like he 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 he's very good at convincing people why something is flawed, or why one way of doing something is better than another way of doing something. He's kind of a bit of a modern day, well, not a modern day, but he was kind of a bit of a he's like a bit of a philosopher type character of some sort in this movie. He's very smart. His character is very memorable. His character is the most memorable character in the whole movie, and the best character in the whole movie. Although all of the characters in this movie are memorable, and all of the characters in this movie are awesome and perfect. John Keating is just the best character in this movie, and so basically, he he basically he basically just teaches his students, his class, the students in his class, that the true meaning of poetry, and the true meaning of just kind of he kind of helps them find the true meaning of life too. Like, well, part of the true meaning of life. Like, a bit of the true meaning of life, if that makes sense. Um, and he just he's a very he's a very great, he's a very memorable character. He's a very quotable character. And he basically like he encourages the the people in his class to, like, pursue their dreams and stuff. And just he encourages them to, like, improve, just improve, like, their whole, like, just improve things in their life that need improving. And he can also be a very funny character, and that works very well. And out of he also, like, he basically also John Keating basically also, like, convinces a certain group of boys in his class to start a Dead Poet Society, which is like where like they go off and, like, they just basically read poetry. They go off, like, into a hidden place, into like a hidden, like, meeting place, and just read poetry and stuff, and just read poetry and analyze it. So it's like a book club kind of. And I know that sounds a little bit lame, and it's supposed to, but it's not lame. It's not lame at all in this movie. It's actually very humorous and powerful. And this movie is perfectly executed. It's very well executed. The story is very well executed. It's perfectly executed. And told, and just the pacing is perfect. The pacing is also perfect. Just everything in this movie is perfect. And out of the the group of boys in this movie who are, like, in the Dead Poet Society, the other two main characters in this movie are Leonard. No, not Leonard. That's the last name of the actor who played this guy. Are Neil Perry, played by Robert Sean Leonard, who looks a lot like young Jim Carrey. Like, young Robert Sean Leonard looks a lot like young Jim Carrey, in my opinion. I actually thought that it was Jim Carrey, like, playing Neil Perry for a little while. Cause they look alike. Like, young, well, not anymore, obviously, but young Robert Sean Leonard and young Jim Carrey looked a lot alike. And Robert Sean, and, like, back on topic. Robert Sean Leonard gives a perfect performance as Neil Perry. He gives the second best performance in this movie. He gives a very powerful, shocking, believable performance in this movie. And we care about his character. He's a very motivated character. He has, like, some parent issues in this movie. Like, his parents don't always agree with, like, his dreams and stuff, and aren't really the kind of parents to encourage, like, his dreams. And it's a bit ridiculous, and it's a bit ridiculous how, like, cold his parents act towards him, and it's supposed to be, because he literally just wants to act. And that's why his parents, especially his father, like, are mad at him, because they want him to, like, be a doctor. Like, they're picking his job, but he wants to be, like, an actor. And they're mad because they want him to be a doctor. And this character gives a very memorable performance, and a very powerful and inspiring and shocking. Well, not inspiring all the time, like, a lot of some of the stuff this character does in the movie, like, should not be, like, repeated or like attempted or anything like that. Yeah, I can't say because spoilers, but like some of the stuff this character does in this movie, no one should do. Let's just say that. And if you're thinking about doing some of the specific things that this character does in this movie, don't. Like, after you watch the movie, you'll know what specific things I'm talking about. Anyway, but he gives a very memorable, powerful, like I said, a very memorable, powerful, and just overall just perfect performance. And the other like main character, like out of the group of boys, is Todd Anderson, who's played by Ethan Hawke. And Ethan Hawke gives the third best performance in this movie. He also gives a perfect performance as Todd Anderson, and Todd Anderson is like he's like an awkward kid. The character. By the way, the characters in this movie, like the boys in this movie are supposed to be all 17 years old, so they're my age because I'm 17. And they're almost adults, and that plays like a big role in this movie. Their age does. And Todd Anderson is like a shy character. He's really shy. He's kind of a relatable character. He's a very memorable character who gives a very powerful performance, and he's a very lovable character, just like all of these characters, all the characters in this movie. And this is just a great movie. It's a perfect movie. It's got like perfect performances in it. From like the whole cast. It's got very strong acting in it. The acting in this movie is strong acting. It's very powerful acting. It's very emotional acting and convincing acting. It's the performances are all convincing. The story is perfect and just perfect and shocking and mostly unpredictable. Like mostly unpredictable, and when it's unpredictable in a great way that benefits this movie's story. And when this movie is predictable, it's only predictable when it wants to be predictable. Like, this movie is only predictable when it wants you to know what's going to happen next. When it wants to be predictable, it's predictable. And it's the good kind of predictable. It's the great kind of predictable that, helps the movie and benefits the movie's story. And creates, tension and stuff like that. And this movie, surprisingly, has a few really intense scenes in there. You wouldn't expect that from, this kind of movie, but there are some, really shocking and, intense and unsettling scenes in here. And they're all great. They're all perfect, just like all of the scenes in this movie. And this movie, it's just a very powerful movie. And it has a very powerful ending and a great beginning and, a great middle. And, this whole movie is just perfect. And I love it. And I love the chemistry between the characters. All of these characters have great chemistry. And the characters are very likable. We actually care about the characters. The audience, I actually cared about the characters. The characters are very likable. The humor in this movie works. It's very smart humor. It's very clever humor. It's funny, so it works. It's perfect. This movie is just really perfect and can be really emotional and sad at times. And when it is, it's perfect and it works and it's great and it's just perfect. And this is a very movie, and I loved it, and it's one of I consider it to be one of the best movies of all time. It's not in my top 10 best movies of all time, like favorite movies of all time, but it is like one of my favorite movies, and it is like, perfect movie to me, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best movies of all time, and I love it. It's perfect. It can be, all the little twists and turns in here are perfect and shocking, and this movie has a lot of heartwarming moments that work, and they're perfect, and this movie's ending is very powerful and satisfying, and are just very like inspiring. All of the moments in this movie are very inspiring. This movie's ending is very inspiring. This movie's beginning is very inspiring. The pacing's perfect. Just everything is perfect. I love this movie. I always will. It's a perfect movie. It's very quotable. It's very memorable. It's just a perfect movie, and it's got some really strong, like I said, some very strong acting in there. The acting is strong. It's great. It's perfect. There are some very, over the top in a good way and powerful performances in here from like the whole cast. And this movie was just awesome and perfect. And I'm gonna give it a 100% out of 100%, which is the equivalent of an A+. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad. I will return.